All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're looking at a really fascinating new blueprint for public health coming out of Malaysia, and it's all built around this one powerful idea. Knowing what you should do for your health and actually, doing it? Yeah, they're two totally different things. So, how in the world do you close that gap? Let's get into it. I mean, really think about it for a second. We've all been there, right? It's New Year's and we make these grand plans to eat better, hit the gym, get more sleep. We buy all the healthy food, we sign up for the membership, and then just a couple weeks in, those old habits just kind of sneak back in. So if it's so clear what we're supposed to do, why is following through just so darn hard? Well, it turns out it's not some personal failing. It's a very human, very universal challenge.
And this exact problem, it actually has a name. It's called the knowing-doing gap. It's that super frustrating space between what we intend to do and what we actually do. And it's right at the core of so many of the public health issues we're facing today. We all know that too much sugar is bad for us, and that going for a walk is good. The information is everywhere. But here's the thing. Just having the information, that alone doesn't really change our behavior. And this is the fundamental problem that so many traditional health campaigns have missed. They're great at telling us what to do, but they really struggle to influence the doing part. And what's really interesting is that Malaysia's own national blueprint calls this out directly. It says the real fight isn't about a lack of knowledge. No, the real battle is against our deeply ingrained habits. All those automatic things we do every single day without even giving them a second thought. And when you take this personal struggle and scale it up across a whole country, well, it becomes a massive national challenge. The consequences get really, really serious. Okay, check out this number. In Malaysia, more than half, 54.4% of the adult population is overweight or obese. And it's not because people don't know about healthy eating. It's because the world around us, our daily lives, often makes the unhealthy choice the easiest, most default option. And if you thought that was a big number, this one is just staggering. Over 95% of Malaysian adults don't eat enough fruits and vegetables. Again, it's not a knowledge problem. The knowledge is there, but the action? It's just not happening. So clearly something in our environment, something in how we make decisions is standing in the way. And all of this is part of a much bigger picture. These stats are really symptoms of these wider systemic problems that were identified in Malaysia's health white paper. We're talking about things like chronic diseases, an aging population, and a health system that's under some serious strain. So it's pretty clear the old way of doing things, just telling people what to do, it just isn't cutting it anymore. So if you want to tackle these huge challenges, you need a totally new way of thinking. You've got to move beyond just handing out health flyers and really dig into the science of human behavior itself. And that brings us to this fascinating field, behavioral sciences. So what is it? Simply put, it's the science of why we do what we do. It pulls in ideas from psychology, economics, sociology, all to figure out the hidden drivers behind the choices we make every day. Okay, so if behavioral science is the why, then behavioral insights, or BI as it's called, is the how. It's all about taking those cool scientific discoveries and turning them into practical, real-world solutions that you can actually use to solve problems, like in public health. The World Health Organization actually has a pretty clear framework for this. The first half is all about understanding what influences us. Our own mental shortcuts, our friends and family, the physical world around us. And then the second half is about using that knowledge to design and test better policies, but doing it in a really systematic, evidence-based way. So what does this smarter approach actually look like? Well, at its core, it's about designing policies for how people really are, not for how we wish they were. And that brings us to this really critical question. For years and years, policies were often based on this ideal world where everyone is perfectly rational all the time. But let's be honest, are we? Or are we a little more influenced by our mood, by convenience, by what everyone else is doing? Okay, let's break this down. The traditional approach, it was all about posters and pamphlets, assuming if you just give people information, they'll make the right choice. The behavioral insights approach, on the other hand, accepts that we have biases. So instead, it focuses on shaping the environment to make the healthy choice the easy choice. Think of it like this. A traditional approach puts up a sign that says, "Eat an apple." A BI approach puts a big, beautiful bowl of apples right there at the checkout. See the difference? It shifts the focus away from just relying on willpower and moves toward creating supportive systems. This quote just nails it. It really sums up the whole philosophy.
It's the answer to that knowing-doing gap we talked about. Behavioral insights are basically the bridge that helps us take all the scientific evidence we have and turn it into action that actually works in the real world. And this isn't just some theory stuck in a textbook. Malaysia is taking this powerful idea and really putting it into practice, showing a serious commitment to this whole new way of thinking. I mean, just look at the timeline here. In May 2022, Malaysia is on the global stage making the case for behavioral science. Just a few months later, bam, they set up their own dedicated BI unit. And then by the next year, they're leading a global resolution on the topic that gets unanimous support. That's not just talk, that's strategic, committed action. And this is huge because it puts Malaysia's work into a global perspective. A joint report from the World Bank and the WHO actually points out how groundbreaking this is. They recognize Malaysia as one of just a handful of countries in the entire world to have a dedicated public health behavioral insights unit right inside its government. And this right here, this is the team making it happen. Housed right within the Ministry of Health, this behavioral insights unit has one main job: make sure that health policies are smarter, more effective, and designed for how real people actually live their lives. So we'll end with this big idea. The promise of this whole approach isn't just about making a few small changes here and there. It's about a fundamental redesign. If we can actually re-architect our workplaces, our schools, our cities to make the healthy choice the simplest, most obvious one, could we actually redesign the health destiny of an entire nation? That is the powerful, exciting question that Malaysia is now trying to answer.